Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be installing the Indian USB charging port kit for my 2016 Indian Scout 60. Now before we get started, there are various degrees of installation instructions depending on the year that your Indian Scout or Indian Scout 60 or Indian Scout Bobber is. Mine being the 2016 model, I will be following the retrofit harness installation, which will be for the 2015 to early 2017 Indian Scout model. So if you have a newer Indian Scout 60 or Indian Scout that's newer than 2017, this video will be different than the other installation. I believe for the newer models, you have to take the headlight housing off and wire your USB charging port kit to that. But for this installation, the retro kit installation for these older models, there's some additional things that you have to do to get this wired up. Let's see what's inside the contents of this box. Indian sent us the mount for our USB for the speedometer, the module for your USB, and the harness for the USB retrofit, which I will be using too. All right, let's pop the seat off. Set that to the side. So the next thing we're going to do is remove the fuel tank. We're going to start by removing these 4 13mm bolts here. The 2 here, and then there's 2 covered up by this rubber piece here. So these 4 are going to be removed. Yeah, take these 4 bolts out, set them to the side. We'll disconnect these 2 hoses right here. Do that. Get those loose. So next thing we're going to do is lift the back of the gas tank up and use a board to keep it held in place while we remove the rest of the items underneath. So the next thing we're going to do is disconnect the fuel line. So the fuel line runs right here, goes here, and there's going to be 2 green tabs on the end and behind this hose right here, one on the top and one on the bottom. You're going to compress those both together and push and pull out. A little bit of fuel may leak out, so just make sure you have a rag or 2 handy. It shouldn't be too much, but just be prepared. There we go, folks. Disconnected on the fuel line, as you can see right here. The green tabs that are right there, one on the top and one on the bottom. It wasn't too bad, and just a few drops of fuel leaked out, so nothing to worry about there. Now to disconnect the electrical part, which I believe is up here. Is that right there? And this right here is your electrical connection that you want to disconnect. The tab is right here, and it's up in there. You just push this one tab on this one side, and then you should be able to pull it out and remove it. So you want to feed both this line, this electrical line, and this fuel line through the frame right here, and then you can lift your tank out. All right, once we got the fuel tank removed and placed in a safe location, we can go ahead and get started on wiring up our USB charging port kit. All right, the next thing you want to do is pull this fuse box out and then disconnect your negative battery terminal as well as your positive one. I went ahead and taped these off So this will give me room to work in here. Remove the speedometer housing. It's obviously got 4 bolts here. These 2 and these 2. I believe they're 8 millimeters. Once you get that removed, then you can unplug it, and I'll take it over there to my bench and go ahead and swap it out for the new one. Okay, I went ahead and swapped out the speedometer housing. There's the old one. Here's the new one here. So went ahead and swapped that out. Put the 2 star screws back together. Okay, I went ahead and put the USB module in the speedometer mount here. So went ahead and got that installed. It's got like a little sleeve that slides over this back part here to keep it held in place. And then this wire here runs to this longer wire that will end up running back to the battery and the accessory wiring. Alright, sorry I didn't record this part, but this is the retro wiring harness for my particular model. Starting from the battery, went ahead and ran the wiring along this channel here, went around this zip tie, and then it runs in through here, goes across this area here, I guess where the throttle body is, then goes around the other side here. So here where it comes out the other side, I went ahead and put some additional zip ties here, tried to hide the wire as much as I could. The gas tank's probably going to cover up most of this, but it runs along this area and then runs to where the forks are. I went ahead and made sure I put a few extra zip ties there just to make sure it stay in place, and then it goes up where the forks are and comes up pretty much where the existing harness is right there. So I went ahead and got the speedometer housing put back in place. I got the 4 bolts here reattached. Got my handlebars straightened up as well. So now I can go ahead and hook my wiring up to my battery and go ahead and do that. Okay, so now to wire this to the battery. So right here we have our negative wire here that goes to the negative side of the battery terminal. This flat part right here is going to be our positive connection. At first I thought that was going to connect to the battery, but I realized that there's actually a accessory wire right here that is provided that plugs into that, so that I'm assuming that when the bike ignition is off, then that will prevent the USB charger from running your battery down. So rather than connecting it directly to the battery on that, you connect it to this here for that. Okay everyone, after getting all this wired up, I went ahead and tested the USB port charger. It does work with the ignition key on. With it off, it doesn't, which with having it wired up to the accessory makes it nice so you won't drain your battery. Other than putting the gas tank on, I'm actually going to wait because I have some other mods I plan on doing to this bike. I'll save those for another video, but for now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.